Hey everybody, I'm gonna make this review quick because this movie made me tired. So I just watched Morbius, the latest movie in Sony's Spider-Man universe. It stars Jared Leto as Morbius, the living vampire. It's based off Marvel Comics. It's not produced by Marvel Studios, it's produced by Sony. It's their own thing. And the tagline is, "A new Marvel legend arrives. I hope he leaves." This movie was not good. I'm just gonna get out of the way. My friends know me as the guy who really likes movies. Okay, I'm very positive about movies. I gave Amazing Spider-Man 2 a 4 out of 10. And I'll explain that. I'll explain why. The reason I give higher ratings to bad movies sometimes is because I can understand the work that went into them. I can understand how hard the director tried, how hard the writers tried, how hard the actors tried. With Amazing Spider-Man 2, I can see how much Andrew Garfield and Emma Stone are acting. I can see the story that Mark Webb was trying to tell before Sony introduced all their cinematic universe stuff into it. I can tell the effort behind it, and it's admirable. It's a good effort. It's just, unfortunately, the movie became bad. That happens. It's sad, but that's the reality of it. This movie just sucks. It's obviously just Sony rushing their cinematic universe, and that's especially true because of the ending. So first off, Jared Leto, he should not be working in Hollywood anymore. He's a fucking creep. I don't like him. He was the worst part of the Snyder Cut. I really like the Snyder Cut. I don't like that he's in it. So, let's release the not Jared Leto cut. He's Morbius. He's a good actor. Like, Jared Leto's a good actor, but he's a scumbag. I don't want to see him in a movie anymore. Who else is in this movie? I'm looking at the Wikipedia page. Matt Smith. Matt Smith is great. I think he's the best part of this movie. I give it a point for that. I like Matt Smith. He's a really great... He was in Doctor Who, for anybody who, knows what I'm talking about. He was the 11th Doctor. He's just a great actor. And I feel bad because he said he joined Morbius because of Karen Gillan, who plays Nebula in the MCU. She recommended it to him. And, I'm sure he knew this wasn't an MCU movie. Or maybe he didn't, because of some stuff we'll talk about. But, it feels bad that he's in this bad movie. Is there anything else that's good? I guess the movie's competently shot, and, there's one good fight scene. Yeah, there's just not much to say, because I don't like this movie. I bet you that's a weird thing for some of my friends to hear, that I don't like a movie. I'm sure it is. I'm sure it is. This isn't as bad as Justice League 2017, I'll say. That still remains my least favorite movie. But, hey, this is pretty bad, okay? Okay, but I'm going to talk about the ending of it, because it is terrible. Just terrible. Okay, so, spoilers for No Way Home, obviously, because, even though the movie's, I think it's still in theaters. It might not be. No, it's on digital now. Made a bunch of money. Great movie, by the way. No Way Home's pretty good. But, okay, so the multiverse cracks that show up at the end of No Way Home show up at the end of Morbius, and this is in the Sony universe. So you'd be like, oh man, maybe that's Venom coming back. Maybe we're going to see a Venom cameo? That'd be cool to see Tom Hardy. I love Tom Hardy as Venom. And I do too. I love Venom 1 and 2. No, instead Michael Keaton as Vulture shows up, and he's like, oh man, I hope the food in this prison's better than the one I was in. Yeah, that's totally what a dimension-hopping villain would say. If I transported from one universe to the other, I'd be like, oh man, I hope my mom's cooking in this universe is better than it is. My mom's an okay cook. But, So they let him out of prison because he doesn't exist in this universe. He just mysteriously showed up. So blah, blah, blah. And this is, you know what? I'm not going to talk about the trailer stuff yet. I'll get to that later. And then the end credit scene is Morbius driving out to the outskirts of New York, and Vulture shows up in a new suit. It's slightly different than his MCU one. It actually looks a little bit better because it has a beak, so I'll give Sony that. At least they improved the design. The design already in Homecoming was good, but this one's a little bit better. And he's like, say, Doc, I don't know how I ended up here. I think it's because of Spider-Man. Just name drop Spider-Man right out there. Just whatever. And of course, Morbius doesn't know who the hell he's talking about. And he's like, I figure guys like me and you should team up. Do some good. And Morbius is like, intriguing. That is his exact line. And then the movie ends. And it's like, oh, Sinister Six is going to happen. Are they going to be heroes or something? I'd rather the Sinister Six be villains. I'd rather them fight Spider-Man. Who's Spider-Man? I don't know. Probably some character that won't show up in Sony's Spider-Man universe. So yeah, the movie's a 2.5. 2.5. And I wanted to talk about some things that I remembered. So, if you don't remember, Morbius' first trailer came out in January 2020. That was 2 years ago. Now, obviously, Sony delayed it because of COVID. That's understandable. COVID's a horrible thing. It's delayed a bunch of stuff. It's kept us all shut in for 2 years at this point. I'm ready for it to be over. I got my both of my shots and my booster shot. Can we please go back to normal? But anyway, the movie, there was some stuff in the trailers. There was a graffiti of Spider-Man, some reason the Raimi suit, and it had the word murder written on it, which is obviously a reference to Far From Home, when when Mysterio dies and he blames Peter on his death. Okay, so it's like, oh, wow, it's a Sony movie, but it's in the MCU. All right. Maybe they can't legally say it's in the MCU, but, like, there we go. Same world from Sony's perspective. Maybe these aren't canon to the Marvel Studios movies, but they're certainly canon to this, so it's whatever. And then they show off Vulture, and it's like, oh, yeah, this is MCU. Okay, cool. And for 2 years, we were led to believe that kind of stuff, and it's like, okay, all right, a little confusing, but whatever. Yeah. Then the final trailer comes out, and it gets even worse. So we have the Daily Bugle from the Raimi movies, which is also in the Venom movies, and you have an Oscorp Tower logo from the Amazing Spider-Man, and you have Vulture from the MCU, and then you have Venom references, and it's like, okay, which universe is this? And it's obvious that it was in the Venomverse. But Venom Let There Be Carnage confirms that that's a separate universe from the MCU. Okay, cool. So why are you referencing all this stuff? Well, first off, the graffiti was cut along with the Oscorp building. Those are not in the movie. They're not in there. The Venom references are, and Vulture's in it. But Vulture is massively changed. None of his scenes from the trailer are in it. He just shows up, gets out of prison, then he talks to Morbius, says he's going to make the Sinister Six, and the movie ends. That's it. None of his scenes are in there. So it's very clear to me that this movie had to be rewritten and reshot a lot. I think it's very clear for people that this was definitely going to be an MCU movie. Like, not an official MCU movie, because it's not a Marvel Studios movie. But Sony was definitely going to put this in the same world that the Spider-Man movies are. Obviously. But they weren't allowed to do that. Or maybe Disney just told them to change it, or maybe Sony decided to change it themselves. You never know. Maybe they wanted to do that just because they can. But yeah, the plans changed, the movie changed, and oh boy, what's the budget on this? $75 million. Okay, so they're not losing much. I mean, they just like won the best box office of the year, so like I'm sure they'll be fine. But yeah. Would I say to go watch Morbius? Honestly, I can't say. Usually I have a good time watching bad movies just because I know to have fun. And I went in with an open mind on this movie, but oh, no, I would not recommend seeing it. That is a first time for a lot of people for me to say that. I don't recommend seeing Morbius. Just watch it online. Or wait for it to go to streaming or something. Just don't watch it, no. It's not good. Jared Leto's a creep. They're building their universe wrong. And you know what? Last thing on the universe thing, because I want to talk about this. I am fairly certain Andrew Garfield's going to be the Spider-Man in the Venomverse, because the director said that Spider-Man does exist in the Venom universe, and it will be revealed who plays him pretty soon. I'm sure it'll probably be like in Craven. We'll get a mention, like a photo of him, and it'll be Andrew Garfield. But I think it's Andrew Garfield. I think they're bringing him back. Hopefully, I think he deserves a second chance. Well, a third chance now. But given the track record of the Sony movies so far, it might not be too great. Yeah. So Morbius is it's a 2.5. Really, closer to a 2 than a 3, but we'll just say 2.5. Yeah, not good. Not good. Watch Venom 2, or Spider-Man instead. Or just go watch the Raimi trilogy. Those are really good movies. Everybody should watch the Raimi trilogy at least once in their life. Those are just good. In fact, I think I'm going to rewatch those. I've done that like 3 times over the past year. Maybe I'll do it again. Love those movies. Yeah. Anyway, thanks for listening, and thanks for listening to me rant for close to 10 minutes, and I guess I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye. Okay, I'm recording this in Adobe Premiere after I put my my audio in the timeline, and I just remembered something. So Tyrese Gibson plays this guy called Stroud or something in the movie. He's like a police detective. And in the trailers, he has this like arm enhancement thing, and that's not in the movie. In fact, there's so much from the trailer that's not in the movie, and it's really distracting. It's very clear that this movie just had dramatic reshoots, and oh my god, I don't know if it was fake or not. It probably was, but hey, at this point, I don't know. There was a plot leak of Morbius back in like late 2020 or like early 2021. And if it's real, it might have been based off like an earlier script, but like it was a way better movie, and it had MCU connections and stuff, and just it was way better. I don't know if it was real or not, but I would have taken that over this movie. Just Jesus Christ, terrible. Oh no.